At this point, this operation has gotten so complicated and so delicate that all it would take was one fuse, one single fuse, to light just one of the bombs up, and a chain reaction would blow up the reputation of the Reagan administration. But that's never going to happen. Who would be crazy enough to actually start an explosion like that? Oh look, it's everyone's least favorite frenemy, American media. The Associated Press came out with an article in 1986 suggesting that the CIA had actually known that the Contras were trafficking cocaine into the US before Congress or even the president did. And not only had they known, they had actively been helping the Contras smuggle cocaine into the US during a time where the government was spearheading a massive anti-drug campaign. To be fair, there was a government report suggesting that there was no evidence for this whatsoever. However, A, that's like the government saying that the government didn't commit any crimes, and B, it's the CIA. Now, to what extent was Reagan or his administration complicit in this? Probably not that much. Again, it's the CIA. They really don't have a good history of listening to their presidents. And again, as I stated earlier, Ronald Reagan genuinely hated drugs. So with that being said, I'm going to stop talking about this topic before I'm put on a watch list for suspected communist activities. But you never know. This topic might be worth a Google. But honestly, that could have been the end of things. There might not have been a need for a 5-minute video on the Iran Contra crisis, if that was where things ended. Maybe, just maybe, this video can end right now. Oh, hello again, media. After a leak by a senior member of the Iranian military, a Lebanese newspaper was able to essentially leak the entire Iran-Contra deal to the entirety of the world, including members of the United States. 10 days later, the Iranians confirmed this, and frankly, it was a real PR killer for Reagan. Other weapons for hostages deals had taken place in the past. This was the first one to be recorded and visibly confirmed to the American public. Essentially, while others had taken cookies, Reagan was the one who got his hand caught in the cookie jar. This was especially damaging for a strongman president like Ronald Reagan, who had promised to never negotiate with the commies or other enemies of the United States under unfavorable circumstances. The whole ordeal led Congress to become kind of suspicious, and so they investigated a little further, which is where they found this. Congress had learned that Reagan used the money they gained from the deal to fund the Contras, despite them expressively telling them not to via the Boland Agreement. Which means Reagan had violated a congressional order, which, if I just check my sources real quick. Oh wait, that's illegal! But wait, there's more. The Reagan administration had not only violated their own Congress by obtaining money which they should not have received, they had done so by using a foreign government's aid. Specifically, they had aid from the government of Iran, which is a known enemy of the United States. Essentially, he betrayed the trust of his own government using the assistance of an enemy foreign government. In America, and basically every government in the world, we have a word for this. It's called treason. Reagan and his administration weren't just committing crimes, they were committing high-order treason against the US government. And, to top it all off, during the investigation, Congress found that a high-ranking member of Reagan's administration, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, had tried to burn documents related to the Iran-Contra affair. This whole situation was as bad, if not worse, than Watergate, and there was 24/7 coverage of it at the time. It was an absolute disaster for the Reagan administration. After Watergate, Nixon resigned. Reagan didn't. So what did Reagan do? Well, there were two big things that Reagan really had to contend with. The first were legal problems, considering his administration had just committed treason. Well, Reagan and his administration decided to put all the blame on Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, who actually accepted the task. The trial of Oliver North to this day is incredibly infamous, and it provided a lot of insight into the dark parts of the US government, specifically the presidency. Basically, Oliver North confessed to a lot of crimes, some of which he did commit, and some of which others committed. Oliver North was duly reprimanded and fired by Ronald Reagan for his crimes and the crimes of others. A further congressional investigation also found out that Reagan himself did not know the full depths of the scandal. In fact, he might not have even known that this whole deal even happened, which might raise suspicions, but we have to keep in mind that this was a congressional investigation run by the Democrats, so if anything, they would probably want Reagan to be out of office. Later reports also found that the Reagan administration was not wholly unanimous on this decision either. For example, while the vice president and the CIA director were both pretty on board with this plan, the Secretary of State was fundamentally incredibly opposed to it. So apparently there was a lot of debate within the whole Reagan administration itself. Which once again makes Reagan's position on this matter, or even his knowledge on the matter, even cloudier. In the end, with regards to this issue, Reagan probably wasn't the demon lord Emperor Palpatine mastermind that everyone in the left paints him out to be, but he also probably wasn't the innocent little Jesus Christ lamb figure that everyone on the right paints him out to be. Me, being a boring little centrist, I personally decided that Reagan was most likely not personally committing treason, but he definitely wasn't blameless. Honestly, I'm interested to hear what you think, so I don't know, share your thoughts in the comments down below or something. So that dealt with Reagan's legal problems, but there was also the matter of the court of public opinion. How was Ronald Reagan going to get people to trust him again? Well, to understand how, you have to understand one of Reagan's core personality traits. Ronald Reagan had riz. Some might even say incalculable riz. In fact, his riz was so strong, it was said that no insult could ever really stick to him. Kind of like Teflon. And using that riz, Ronald Reagan sat down to give one of the most famous, or perhaps infamous, addresses in all of American history, where he essentially rizzed the American population so hard that they completely forgot his administration had just committed high treason. Now, the speech itself is too long for me to incorporate into my video, so I got a friend of mine to recreate it for me.
We're live, Mr. President.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy, the one and only President Reagan. Turns out my administration did a bit of an oopsie. The commies were acting mad sus in Nicaragua, so they ended up not listening to the haters in Congress. Looking back, it was definitely not a pro-gamer move, but I want you to know that I had nothing to do with it. Trust me, my opponents are capping for real. I want you to know that as your president, I was never going to give you up, let you down, run around, or desert you. So America, are you going to give up on me?
That right there, that's the face of presidential riz. And that, my friends, was the chaos of the Iran Contra affair. A story of a bunch of people who, through trying to do the right thing, broke the rules. In the end, never faced the consequences.